Now let's continue our periodic series of profiles of the candidates for Rhode Island governor. Mark Murphy is the editor of the Providence Business News. They've been conducting these profiles periodically. The cover story of the current edition of the newspaper is about Republican candidate for governor Patricia Morgan, House Minority Leader. And interesting interview here with her. She talks about the political nature, the political dimension of state government. We know it's there, but she seems to be attacking it more aggressively than many other candidates.
Well, I think she's probably seen it up close more directly than many candidates as the House Minority Leader. So she's been in the minority party in a very democratically dominated legislature for a while. And so I think she's sort of seen, being from the outside, just how difficult it can be to get, well, there's no such thing as bipartisan legislation, really, in Rhode Island.
No, except for the occasional proclamations congratulating somebody for something. And even then.
That's right. So I think it comes from her experience.
Yeah, she's been a vocal critic of the truck tolls for a long time now. She got a lot of trouble with some of the entrenched Democrats even discussing it at hearings in the past.
Yeah, but it's interesting. She points out, look, my district was created in order to be a Democratic district. She says, I have trailer parks, I have Section 8 housing, I have elderly high-rise apartments in it. He says, Bill Murphy, the former Speaker of the House, a Democrat, lives across the street from her. So she said, clearly, I understand the needs of everyday people. And as a divorced woman, she's been earning her own living for years. So she understands, at least personally, what it's like to have a challenging time to make ends meet.
And to get attention, she's done a lot of, I'd say, more creative things maybe than some of the other candidates, the most famous being she had one of her staff members dress up like a chicken and say that one of her Republican opponents, Cranston Mayor Alan Fung, is too chicken to debate, which is true up to this point. They've already had a big radio debate on WPRO, and he wasn't there.
Yeah, and she's not the only one, though, too, because Governor Morondo has not debated Matt Brown on the Democratic side. So there's a lot of discussion about debating and just how important it is.
So the headline on the front page of the paper is she has a new lesson plan for Rhode Island. Summarize it in 30 seconds if you can, and is there a chance it actually she can sell it successfully?
Well, she's a teacher, which is why we say lesson plan. She's a former teacher. I think a lot of it is sort of the heterodoxy, I think is the right word, right? Or, sort of the Republican view of how government should be limited. So she doesn't like the tolls. She thinks you should, whatever money, for instance, the internet tax plan generates should be used to lower the sales tax. I think that trying to cut back on tax incentives for companies coming here. She said there are some areas where they might work, but in a very limited fashion. She's not in favor of the Rhode Island Promise Plan, which guarantees free tuition for CCRI students. So it's a whole series of sort of pulling back government, finding wasteful spending, and limiting the size of government, which a lot of folks believe will then unleash more creative free market solutions.
Much more about her campaign in the current edition of the Providence Business News in print and online. Mark Murphy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Frank.